Hello, in this video I will go over how to use the distributive property to multiply mixed numbers. Let's do a quick review of how the distributive property can help us when we're using whole numbers. We have 5 times 32. We can break up the 32 into 30 plus 2. So it becomes 5 times 30 plus 2. Remember, if we're using our visual, we have our rectangle, so we're using our area model. We would have 5 here, and we would have 30 and 2 here. We would then multiply 5 times 30 and get 150, and 5 times 2 and get 10, and then we're adding 150 plus 10. So over here on the algorithm side, we're doing 5 times 30 plus 5 times 2. And again, we have 150 plus 10, which gives us 160. Now let's take a look and see how we can use that with fractions. We're going to use the same method. If I have my visual model, I have 5 here, and I'm going to break up my fraction into 2 and 1/2. So on my numbers, it's 5 times 2 plus 1/2. Over here, 5 times 2 is 10. And then 5 times 1/2, we're going to right now just express it as 5/2. Down here, 5 times 2 plus 5 times 1/2. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 5 times 1 is 5 over 2. I can then change my 5 over 2 to 2 and 1/2. So 10 plus 2 and 1/2 gives us 12 and 1/2. Let's take a look at another example. 6 times 3 and 1/4. I'm going to express it as 6 times 3 plus 1/4. Again, you like the visual. 6 is here, 3 is here, and we have 1/4 here. So I multiply to find the area of this, and I go 6 times 3, which is 18. I find the area of this little piece, which is 6 times 1/4, which we will call it 6 over 4. Back now to our numbers. 6 times 3 plus 6 times 1/4. 6 times 3 is 18, plus, multiply across on my numerators, 6/4, which now becomes 18 plus 1 and 2/4, which is 19 and 2/4, and I'm going to simplify 2/4 as 1/2. 4th. Oh. I keep doing that. You could use the distributive property to multiply 2 mixed numbers. I'm going to break up 2 and 1/4 and express it as 2 plus 1/4. I'm going to multiply that by 3 plus 1/3. In this case, an area model really comes in handy, so I'm going to draw my area model and break up my 3 and 1/3 and my 2 and 1/4. It really doesn't matter what you put on either side. So now I'm going to find the area of a 2 times 3, which is this rectangle, and I get 6. Then I'm going to multiply my 2 times 1/3, which is 2/3, so I get this area. Then I'm going to multiply 3 times 1/4, which is 3/4, and then I'm going to do 1/4 plus 1/3, and I'm going to get 1/12. And that gives me the area of this. So numerically, if we take a look, okay, I started with my 2 times my 3, and I'm going to add then my 2 times my 1/3. Then I'm going to now add my 1/4 times my 3 and my 1/4 times my 1/3. Yes, this is a lot of work, but this will actually build your knowledge when you get to algebra. So my 2 times 3 is 6, plus my 2 times 1/3, if it helps you put a 1 under it, it becomes 2/3, plus my 4 times 3, which becomes 3/4, plus my 1/4 times 1/3, which is 1/12. Okay? Now, yes, this is a lot of steps. There's another way that might be better to do this, but we're going to keep going on this. We have 6. Now, if I add 2/3, 3/4, and 1/12, I need a common denominator, so I'm going to make it 12. 3 times 4 gives me 12, so 2 times 4 is 8. 4 times 3 gives me 12. 3 times 3 is 9. And then I have 1/12. So I have 18/12. 6 plus 18/12, which is 6 plus 1 and 6/12, which now is 7, and 6/12, which is 7.5. Yes, there's a lot of steps to this, but it will help you, again, build your algebra knowledge. You might not choose this as the best method to multiply mixed numbers. There are definitely other ways.